Welcome to the Making Rooms TTRPG podcast. I'm Eric Oakland, and these are my ruminations on designing, publishing, and finding community for the Explore Rooms TTRPG. If you want to support my journey publishing my first RPG zine, you can head over to Kickstarter using the link below and be notified when my project goes live on February 1st. In this episode, I'm talking about the art, the visuals, the style of the zine, and whether or not that's important to its success at all. But first, let me read you this episode's Explore Room. You're standing in a tall tower with walls made of stone blocks. Looking up, you can only see a teeny tiny pinprick of light. A few of the wall blocks at ground level have a faint glowing arrow on them that's pointing up. What do? Do you try and climb the walls? Do you want to touch one of the blocks with an arrow on it? You touch an up arrow and your body immediately becomes weightless and you start floating upward. A little higher up, you see another glowing arrow on a block, and this one's pointing to the left. Touching arrow after arrow, you zoom up, over and around the tower until you reach the top. The tiny pinprick of light gets bigger and bigger until it's big enough for you to crawl out of to the next room. I hope you enjoyed that Explore Room. Now for the TTRPG tip of the episode. At Party of One Pod on TikTok, which seems to be a productivity or motivational vlog, had this to say. Make it exist. You can make it look good later. You may not have all the finances, people, or ideas to make it great, but if you don't start, it will take you that much longer to get to those parts of the plan. There's never a right moment. There's just now and there's later. I really appreciated Party of One Pod's perspective on this. There are certainly times where maybe you want to wait until you get it right or can get it right, have the skills or the pieces of the puzzle to put it together. But at some point, waiting isn't going to help you make a better thing. In fact, it's more likely to not become a thing at all the longer you wait. And I feel like that's a message for me. I've been thinking and sitting on this project, this TTRPG, for a few years, and I've started and stopped on developing it into a product a few times. But we're doing this. February 1st, Kickstarter launches. I know it's going to be successful, and we're going to print these books. Let's go to Roomino. But let's move to the main topic of this episode. Is the art, the visuals, going to have any impact on the success of this project? Now, I've been drawing a long time, since I was a little kid. And I've gone through many stages of success with drawing. I took as many art classes as I could in high school, and then in college, I was an art major for a little bit. I attempted to learn how to draw comic books for a time period, joined like an online collective in the early days of the internet with other peers who loved drawing comic books. I even did some designs and concept art for video games and really enjoyed it, but I never found professional work as an illustrator at that time. I did teach myself how to be a graphic designer in the early days of websites and print media, etc. And I even worked myself up to being a creative director until in 2010, I started my own video production company that was pretty successful. And since then, I've been doing a lot of video production projects, animation projects. I produce podcasts for clients, etc. So creative has often been in my life. Producing creative projects is a big part of what I've done in my life. And illustration has been a part of some of those. The company, a video production company I started in 2010 was a whiteboard video company. So we were drawing on a whiteboard in front of a camera with a narrator voiceover over the edit of that video. So that was the first time where illustration really became a core of how I work. Not to mention that I had to develop a specific art style for those videos so I could teach and train other artists that worked for me on our house style. I even had to teach them how to write like I do, which is very clean and very legible on camera. And I've developed a visual style for a couple other businesses using illustration. But when it came to this project, one of the reasons that I kept kind of stopping or getting stuck was because I didn't know what the visual style of this project was going to be. I tried numerous visuals, sketches. I drew and drew and drew a bunch of different ways until something finally clicked. But you can see that these are very simple characters with large heads, and that helps with making them feel younger. Well, they're obviously two-dimensional characters, but even in how they run or how they pose, you always see sort of the front three-quarters a view of them, whether they're standing still or running or emoting, etc. And I want it to be very colorful because that's something that when you're targeting young audiences, you want color is a really important part of them developing and seeing this. But I also kind of muted it a bit. I don't want just red, blue, yellow, green, vomit all over it. I want some nuance to it. And so this was the first step of kind of developing style. This is the first time that I started kind of really thinking that this could be a signature style for the book. And so here's sort of a test. On the left, we've got very flat colors with a little bit of a highlight, all the way to more sophisticated shadows and cell shading with those colors. So once I had these characters, then I was trying to figure out, well, how do I show rooms? How do I show these environments that they're in? And I did try and develop some like three-dimensional perspective drawings of these rooms, but it never seemed to quite fit. It was almost like even in three-dimensionality, I couldn't capture the imaginativeness of these spaces. It was almost too real. And so one of the things I've started to do is work on almost impressions of or abstractions of these rooms. And so here is a picture. This is still in this kind of the sketch phase, because you can see these shapes act as the container for these experiences. And, they kind of they add something to the story here. But for instance, here is the tower that I just, the explore room that you just heard. And here's a visualization of that. But it's not in 3 dimensions. It's not showing them going, up into a pinprick of light. It's showing arrows on the walls, and it's showing these kids zooming up and down, left and right. So just to give you a sense that I want to found this way of sort of capturing the mood of it without it necessarily being a full render of maybe the 3D space that one might picture in their mind. And what I love is that I can kind of come up with a bunch of things without and put it all in this space without it necessarily having to like make sense in 3D space, which the rooms don't make sense in 3D space as you move between them. There's no set pattern in which rooms exist, unless of course you have a certain game or puzzle within them. This is sort of where I've landed on with sort of how I represent some of the rooms. One of the biggest breakthroughs for me, a couple episodes I talked about whether I should emphasize the setting or the mechanics. And landed on the idea that the setting might be the most unique. And in fact, I think it's the tone and the spirit in which the kids are excitedly jumping into the space. And so that's where the cover art came out of. And here is a progression from kind of the first sketch to a revised version of it, and then some variations in color that I worked with. And I really love the tone of this piece. It has it has the kids, it has creatures, it's got a lot of movement and action. And I like that it also harkens back to the mechanics where I'm walking the dog, telling them a story, and that they're going on this adventure. So it kind of plays a little bit into both of those. So this next piece is of a bunch of kids around the Let's Go to Roomino word bubble. And I wanted to stay in the energy of the piece, of the book, about the kids jumping into this place. And this harkens back to my kids shouting at me to tell them another explore room. and wanting to go on another adventure. On the player stuff page, I'm getting into some spot illustrations of some of the things that players get to bring with them. In the finding stuff page, these are some of the cool stuff that they get to find. An essential part of any role-playing game is the trinkets and doodads and magic items and stuff that you get to use. And so I wanted to give a little flavor of that in the book. One of my favorite things have been some of the creatures that we've created together. The element eel is something that's been a part of my daughter's game. For some reason, she latched herself to wanting to have an eel as a creature that comes with her on a lot of her journeys. Confectionery Fox came from the cover drawing. As I was drawing the cover, I was just trying to think of, something that the kids could be, different ways they could be heading into the portal to Roomino, and one of those being riding on a dog or wolf-like creature. For some reason, he just became made of candy, because that is also a theme of a lot of our games. And I guess doubled so with the cotton candy couch. Also featured here. So the creatures just add a lot to the experience. I want them to be memorable. I want them to be friendly and something that kids feel comfortable around and talk about. So the creature art here was really important to me. Now the question is, will this matter? Will these pieces of art move the needle when it comes to the Kickstarter? I believe absolutely yes. Because the rules are light, I need to focus on what is unique about this game. And for us, that's the setting. And that setting is Roomino. And inside of Roomino, without being able to put these room sheets, these different rooms, and tell them straight to kids, I need to show them some of what they might find and experience. So being able to show the creatures, it's a huge draw for wanting to imagine yourself someplace and be able to go there. Being able to see kind of kids having fun, enjoying themselves, jumping through portals, and that visual of them moving around the different rooms, things like that is sort of an abstraction, but a sense of what this game feels like. And I think for new buyers, people who've never heard of me before, I've got no proof that I know how to design a game or put a game together. And so being able to say, hey, the rules are simple, but look at this vivid, imaginative space that I've created. I believe that will sell people on this product in this book. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. One, do you think that art is going to help sell this book on Kickstarter? Do you think that this is going to be a door that people will walk through to give the rules a chance, to even just give a chance to a better understanding what this book is? Even if they don't make a purchase, do you think that the pictures give it a chance that it otherwise wouldn't have had without them? Number two, what do you think of the art? Not, hey, it's great art or it's bad art. No. Does it create a sense of this place, Roomino? Do you feel like you have a better understanding of the world we're creating based on these drawings? Or do they feel disconnected? Do they feel like they don't belong in the same places together? That they're not part of the same narrative, etc. I'd love to hear that and any other thoughts you have down in the comments below. That's a wrap for this episode. You can find me through all the socials down in the description below. Again, if you want to support me on this journey, come be notified when the Kickstarter goes live on February 1st. If you are looking to publish your own TTRPG, Zine Quest is a great format to do that within. And come look at my page and what I'm doing, and maybe it'll inspire you to get your own TTRPG built and out there into the world. I hope so, and I'll see you in the next room.